Welcome to Past in English, the channel where you improve your English by listening to the greatest stories in human history. Today's story is 2,800 years old. It has monsters, gods, magic, war, and one of the most powerful love stories ever told. But before we begin, I have a special challenge for you today. Hidden inside today's story are 10 English vocabulary words.
10 words? What kind of words?
Important words, powerful words, words that will make your English stronger. Here are your 10 words for today. Listen carefully. Word 1, cunning. Word 2, enchanted. Word 3, immortality. Word 4, deceive. Word 5, loyal. Word 6, prophecy. Word 7, treacherous. Word 8, perseverance. Word 9, disguise. Word 10, epic.
Those are great words.
Your challenge is this. Every time you hear one of these 10 words in today's story, write it down. And after the video ends, go to the comments section. Write the meaning of as many words as you can.
This is a great way to practice English. And if you are not sure about a meaning, listen carefully to how we use the word in the story. The story itself will teach you the meaning.
That is exactly right. So, listeners, get your notebooks ready. 10 words. Write their meanings in the comments below. Let us see who gets all 10 correct. Ready? Then let us begin today's story, the Odyssey, the most epic adventure ever told.
The Odyssey is an ancient Greek story. It was written by a poet named Homer. Homer wrote it approximately 2,800 years ago.
2,800 years ago? That is incredibly old.
Yes, and yet people still read it today. They still make movies and books based on it because the story is so powerful and so human.
What is the story about?
The Odyssey is about a man named Odysseus. Odysseus was a Greek king and warrior. He was the king of a small island called Ithaca.
Was he a great warrior?
He was, but what made Odysseus special was not just his strength, it was his cunning, his cleverness, his ability to think his way out of any problem.
So cunning means being clever in a sneaky way?
Exactly right, Maya. Cunning, that is your first vocabulary word. Odysseus was the most cunning hero in all of Greek mythology. Now, before the Odyssey begins, something important happened. There was a great war, the Trojan War. Have you heard of it?
I have heard the name, but I do not know the details.
The Trojan War was fought between the Greeks and the city of Troy. Troy was a powerful city in what we now call Turkey. The war began because a Trojan prince named Paris took a Greek queen named Helen. Helen was said to be the most beautiful woman in the world. Poets said her face launched 1,000 ships. The Greeks sent 1,000 ships to Troy to get her back.
A whole war over one woman?
Yes, the Trojan War lasted 10 long years, and in the end, the Greeks won. But how they won is famous.
How did they win?
Through a trick. Odysseus's cunning trick. The Greeks built a giant wooden horse. They hid soldiers inside it. Then they pretended to leave. The Trojans thought the horse was a gift. They brought it inside their city. That night, the soldiers crept out. They opened the city gates. The Greek army rushed in. Troy was defeated.
Oh, the Trojan horse. That was his cunning plan.
Yes, Odysseus used his cunning to win the war, not his sword, his mind.
So after winning the war, Odysseus went home?
That is what he wanted, But going home turned into a 10-year epic journey, full of monsters, gods, and impossible challenges. And that journey is the Odyssey. Epic, your second vocabulary word. Something epic is very large, impressive, and heroic. And this journey was truly epic. After the Trojan War ended, Odysseus got on his ships. He had 12 ships and hundreds of men. He wanted to go home to Ithaca, to his wife Penelope, to his young son Telemachus.
Simple enough, just sail home.
Not so simple, Maya, because Odysseus had made a very powerful enemy.
Who?
Poseidon, the god of the sea.
The god of the sea is your enemy when you need to travel by sea. That is very bad.
Very bad indeed. During the war, Odysseus had blinded Poseidon's son. Poseidon was furious. He was determined to make the journey home as treacherous as possible.
Treacherous, that is one of our 10 words.
Yes, treacherous means dangerous and untrustworthy. Poseidon made the seas treacherous for Odysseus. Dangerous storms, dangerous waves, dangerous monsters.
So a god was personally trying to destroy him?
Yes, but Odysseus also had help. The goddess Athena loved Odysseus. She admired his cunning mind. She helped him whenever she could.
So one god making the journey treacherous and one god trying to help him survive.
Exactly. And between these two powerful forces, Odysseus's epic journey began. The first great adventure happened on the island of the Cyclops.
What is a cyclops?
A cyclops is a giant, a massive, terrifying giant with only one eye in the middle of its forehead.
One eye in the middle of the forehead? That is terrifying.
The Cyclops on this island was named Polyphemus, and Polyphemus was the son of Poseidon.
They walked into the home of the sea god's own son?
Yes, Odysseus and some of his men entered Polyphemus's cave. The cave was full of food and sheep, but then Polyphemus came home. He blocked the cave entrance with a giant rock. Then he grabbed 2 of Odysseus's men and he ate them.
He ate them?
Like snacks. The next morning, he ate 2 more men for breakfast. Then he left and blocked the cave again.
So they were trapped inside a cave with a man-eating giant. How did Odysseus escape? He used his cunning, right?
Pure cunning. Odysseus found a large wooden pole in the cave. He sharpened one end into a point. He heated it in the fire. That evening, Odysseus offered Polyphemus very strong wine. The Cyclops drank it all. He became drunk. Then he asked Odysseus his name. Odysseus smiled. He said, "My name is Nobody."
Nobody? Why?
You will understand in a moment. The Cyclops fell into a deep drunken sleep. Then Odysseus and his men drove the heated pole into his one eye.
They blinded him.
Yes, Polyphemus screamed in pain. Other Cyclops giants heard his screams from outside. They called out, "Polyphemus, who is hurting you?" And Polyphemus screamed, "Nobody, nobody is hurting me."
Because his name was Nobody. The other giants thought nothing was wrong. They went back to sleep.
Pure cunning genius. Then, in the morning, the blind Cyclops had to let his sheep out. Odysseus tied his men under the bellies of the sheep. The blind Cyclops felt the tops of each sheep as they went out. He did not feel the men hiding underneath. They escaped.
2,800 years old and still one of the cleverest escape stories ever.
After escaping the Cyclops, they reached another island, home to a powerful witch named Circe.
What kind of witch?
Circe was a goddess and a sorceress. She could transform people into animals. When Odysseus's men went to explore, they found Circe's palace. She invited them inside. She gave them food and wine, but the food and wine were magical. After eating, the men were transformed into pigs.
She turned them into pigs?
But Odysseus had not gone to the palace. He was warned by the god Hermes. Hermes gave Odysseus a special herb that protected him from Circe's magic. When Odysseus arrived at Circe's palace, she tried to deceive him. She tried to trick him with her magic.
Deceive. That is our fourth vocabulary word. To deceive someone means to trick someone.
Excellent, Maya. She tried to deceive Odysseus, but the herb protected him. Her magic did not work. Odysseus drew his sword. Circe was shocked. No human had ever resisted her before. She fell in love with him.
She tried to deceive him and turn him into a pig, and then fell in love with him?
That is Circe. She turned his men back into humans. She let everyone stay and recover. Odysseus and his men stayed with Circe for 1 whole year. But eventually, Circe gave Odysseus a prophecy.
Prophecy. Word number 6. A prophecy is a prediction about the future.
Correct. Circe's prophecy told Odysseus about the dangers still ahead. She predicted what he would face, and she warned him how to survive. Circe's prophecy told Odysseus he must do something terrifying. He must travel to the underworld, the land of the dead.
He had to go to the land of the dead while still alive?
Yes, he needed to speak to the spirit of a blind prophet named Tiresias. Only Tiresias could give him the final prophecy about how to reach home safely.
So he literally visited death and came back?
In the underworld, Odysseus saw the spirits of old friends. He saw the spirit of his own mother. She had died while he was away. He tried to hug her, but she was a ghost. His arms passed right through her.
That is so sad. He could see his mother but could not touch her.
One of the most heartbreaking moments in the whole story. He also met the spirit of the great warrior Achilles. Odysseus thought Achilles must be happy. He was the greatest hero, famous forever. But Achilles said something surprising. He said he would rather be a poor, loyal farmer alive on earth than the king of all the dead.
Loyal. Word number 5. Loyal means faithful and devoted. Even a great hero would rather be a loyal, living man than a dead legend.
Powerful, isn't it? Finally, Odysseus received his final prophecy from Tiresias. He learned the dangers ahead, and he began the last part of his treacherous journey home. After leaving the underworld, Odysseus faced another famous danger, the sirens.
Beautiful creatures who sing?
Yes, the sirens sat on rocks in the sea. They sang the most beautiful music anyone had ever heard. When sailors heard the music, they became enchanted.
Enchanted. Word number 2. To be enchanted means to be magically attracted to something.
Perfect. Sailors became so enchanted by the sirens' song they could not resist. They steered their ships toward the music, toward the rocks. Their ships crashed. The sailors drowned.
The most beautiful sound in the world was also the most deadly.
Odysseus wanted to hear the siren song. No man had ever heard it and survived, but he used his cunning again. He told his men to put beeswax in their ears. They could not hear the sirens at all. Then he told them to tie him tightly to the ship's mast. No matter what he said or did, they must not untie him.
He wanted to hear the song, but also made sure he could not act on it. He used his own weakness against itself.
As they sailed past, Odysseus heard the song, the most beautiful thing he had ever experienced. He screamed, he struggled, he begged his men to untie him. But his men could not hear him. They kept rowing. They sailed safely past. Odysseus was the only man in history to hear the siren's song and survive.
After the sirens, Odysseus had to sail through a narrow, treacherous passage. On one side, a monster named Scylla. On the other side, a monster named Charybdis.
What kind of monsters?
Scylla had 6 heads. Each head had 3 rows of sharp teeth. When ships passed, she reached down and grabbed 6 sailors at a time. On the other side, Charybdis was a massive whirlpool. She swallowed enormous amounts of water 3 times a day. Any ship caught in her whirlpool would be completely destroyed.
One monster eats 6 men, the other destroys the whole ship. What do you choose?
Odysseus chose Scylla. Lose 6 men, or lose everyone. As they passed through, Scylla's 6 heads came down. She grabbed 6 of Odysseus's best men. He watched them screaming, reaching out for him, but he could not save them.
Even today, people say between a rock and a hard place. That phrase comes from this moment.
It does. Scylla on the rock, Charybdis the hard place. Some choices have no good answer, only a less terrible one. After losing all his men to Poseidon's treacherous storms, Odysseus was completely alone. All his men were dead. All his ships were gone. He washed up on a beautiful island, the island of a goddess named Calypso.
Another goddess?
Calypso was beautiful and kind. She rescued Odysseus. She cared for him, and she fell in love with him. She offered him something extraordinary. She offered him immortality.
Immortality, word number 3, living forever.
Yes, if Odysseus stayed with Calypso, he would never grow old. He would never die. He would live forever in paradise.
That is an extraordinary offer. Did he accept?
He refused.
He refused immortality?
Every night, he sat on the beach, looking toward the horizon, thinking of Ithaca, thinking of Penelope. He would rather be a mortal man who grows old and dies at home with the woman he loves than live forever in paradise without her.
He chose love over immortality. That might be the most romantic thing I have ever heard.
Calypso kept him for 7 years, but eventually the gods ordered her to let him go. With tears in her eyes, she watched him sail away.
After 20 years, Odysseus reached Ithaca, but he did not walk in and announce himself. He arrived in disguise.
Disguise, word number 9, to hide your true identity.
He disguised himself as a poor old beggar. He needed to understand the situation first. He entered his own palace in disguise. The suitors laughed at him, insulted him, threw food at him.
They threw food at Odysseus in his own home.
He endured it because he had a plan. Only one creature recognized him immediately, his old dog, Argos. Argos had been loyal to his master for 20 years. When Argos saw Odysseus, his tail wagged slowly. Then Argos closed his eyes and died. He had waited just long enough to see his master one last time.
I was not prepared for that.
One of the most touching moments in all of literature. Then Penelope announced a contest. She brought out Odysseus's great bow. She said whoever could string the bow and shoot an arrow through 12 axe heads would become her husband. The suitors tried one by one. Not one could even string the bow. It was too powerful. Then the old beggar asked to try. The suitors laughed.
Of course they laughed. He was dressed in a disguise. They had no idea who he was.
The old beggar picked up the bow. He strung it effortlessly. He shot one arrow straight through all 12 axe heads. Then he stood up tall. He was no longer an old beggar. He looked at the suitors, and they finally saw the truth.
Odysseus.
Odysseus, home at last. What followed was a great battle. Odysseus, his son Telemachus, and a few loyal servants fought the 100 suitors. Odysseus won. He walked to Penelope, 20 years apart, but Penelope, cunning until the very end, tested him. She told a servant to move their marriage bed. Odysseus was instantly angry. He said the bed could not be moved. He had built it himself around a living olive tree. The tree was the bed's post, rooted in the ground. Nobody could move it. Only Odysseus could know this secret.
That was her test. If he knew about the bed, he was the real Odysseus.
Penelope burst into tears. 20 years of loyalty and perseverance finally released. They held each other, and the most epic journey in literary history was over.
Alex, that was absolutely incredible. I felt so many emotions. Fear during the Cyclops, sadness with his mother in the underworld. The dog Argos made me cry, and the ending made me smile.
That is why people have been reading the Odyssey for 2,800 years. It is not just an adventure story. It is a story about something deeply human, the desire to go home, love that survives 20 years, perseverance that never breaks.
And our 10 vocabulary words. Let us do a quick recap for everyone.
Word 1, cunning, just like Odysseus. Clever in a sneaky way.
Word 2, enchanted, like the sailors who heard the sirens, magically attracted.
Word 3, immortality, what Calypso offered Odysseus, living forever.
Word 4, deceive, what Circe tried to do to Odysseus, to trick someone.
Word 5, loyal, like Penelope, like the dog Argos, faithful and devoted.
Word 6, prophecy, what Circe gave Odysseus, a prediction about the future.
Word 7, treacherous, the seas made by Poseidon, dangerous and untrustworthy.
Word 8, perseverance, like Penelope waiting 20 years, never giving up.
Word 9, disguise, how Odysseus returned home, hiding your true identity.
And word 10, epic, this entire story, very large, impressive, and heroic.
Now it is your turn. Go to the comments right now. Write the meanings of as many words as you can. Even one word is great practice. All 10 words, you are an English champion.
And tell us, which part of the Odyssey surprised you the most? The Cyclops trick? The dog Argos? Penelope's cleverness? Or Odysseus refusing immortality for love?
We want to know. Write it in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching Past in English. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Share it with a friend who wants to improve their English, and we will see you in the next video.
See you next time!
Goodbye!